Hi, my name is Alison Young. I'm a reference assistant here at the McAllen Public Library. And since summer reading program is happening June 1st, which is coming along soon, I thought it would be fun to share with y'all my favorite books, recommendations, and really what I like to read. So, two of the main genres I read are in fantasy and romance, which sadly enough, both genres, but especially romance, can get bad rap, which, fantasy and romance have so many great titles, and I think so many people are missing out on really great stories, especially in romance, since, it's a genre that's written for women, by women, about women. And I will say that the romance genre is doing a bit better in trying to get more diverse titles compared to other genres, especially since we do have a vast array of authors in that genre. You can read LGBT romances, you can read interracial romances, you could read romances with people of color as the main characters. You can read books that have a main character with a disability, amazing things like that, and you get to see different aspects of humanity you don't usually get to see, and most often they're written with respect and dignity. And it's just really nice to read a journey where someone is learning about themselves as they go into a relationship. I love character development so much. Like, this even goes into like movies I like to watch. Like, I don't mind if a movie has a plot hole, but they have to have interesting characters for me to care. So I do tend to prioritize character over plot sometimes. And you can find a lot of my books are like that. So I do recommend two books. The first one is a high fantasy. It's called The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. Now, this is a really great book that's kind of let's say the Game of Thrones finale really upset you and you want to read fantasy, but right now, you don't want to read anything to do with Game of Thrones. Well, this is kind of the anti-Game of Thrones to say, where it's not violent, like all the politics is about the court intrigue. It's not really about violence or sword clashing. So to start it off, The Goblin Emperor is about a half goblin, half elf boy. His name is Maya, and Maya is told all of a sudden, like, oh hey, your older half brothers and your dad that neglected you all these years have died, so now you're the emperor. So basically Maya's like, what? And really, the whole book is about Maya entering this new world as an emperor, making do with, the racism against goblins, him learning how to, be a stronger person because, he kind of grew up in a neglected, abusive home. And how he, comes to terms with himself. And in the background, too, is they're trying to figure out exactly what happened. Who murdered the emperor and the older princes? So it's kind of a lot of interesting little arcs here and there. And really, you're going to love Maya as a main character. He is just so kind and sweet. Very cinnamon roll. Very cinnamon roll. So you can actually find this book in our Lark branch. I really recommend it. So another book I want to recommend is The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. So this book is actually in the main library, and it's actually a new arrival right now. So this book beautifully combines art and science, and I feel like there's this really weird science versus art thing going on sometimes. So it's really nice to see a book that embraces both, especially with their heroines. This is a romance book, a historical romance actually, and it talks about how women are undervalued in science, and how women associated things like embroidery get overlooked. So to start with, we have one of our main characters. She's an astronomer, and her girlfriend ends up deciding to stay in the closet, and basically marries a guy without telling the main character, which the main character is like heartbroken. So to distract herself, she decides to go check out this book that where the scientist widow is looking for someone to translate from French, and she volunteers. And let's see, it's a very loaded book, and so her love interest is the widow. And the widow, she's an embroiderer, and she tries to close herself off from other people because she dealt with her husband was a terrible person. So she decides to support and fund this astronomist girl that comes in and captures her heart. It's a very beautiful book. It's beautifully written, and I also recommend that one as well. So you can go on ahead to the Adult Virtual Summer Reading Challenge in our LibGuide. This is the home page. And if you look at the tabs above, these are the names of all the librarians and assistants that are sharing their reading recommendations. Let's go ahead to my page. And here we are. Here you can have a description of what I generally like to read. Here are my top 10 favorite books. Here you'll have books that I'm planning on reading next. And here are books that I find emotionally compromising, as in, you're going to feel so much reading these books. They're so beautiful and so cathartic to read. Now be sure to check out if any of the books have an MPL icon. This will mean that it has an ebook. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great reading.